a good night's sleep is definitely indispensable for a healthy lifestyle. I sometimes hear people who say, "Oh, I will just live the life and sleep in my grave." But it just doesn't make sense to shorten your life and decrease the quality of your left years by constantly depriving yourself of sleep. So sleep is very important, and there's actually this interesting thing I read in the book called Why We Sleep, written by a neuroscientist. So it explains if sleep wasn't essential for our survival, the evolution process would have eliminated it. Because at the end, in ancient times, when we were sleeping, we were more open to attacks. We had less time to maybe gather food or find a mate. And despite all these disadvantages, sleep remained as a very important, as an indispensable part of our lives. There is not a single system, not a single organ or process in our body that doesn't benefit from sleep. It's the best thing that we can do to help our body and mind to reset every day. A healthy amount of sleep for adults is something between 7 and 9 hours. So oversleeping can also be harmful, just like not getting enough sleep. So how does sleep happen? Melatonin, a hormone in our body, is usually the first thing that people think about. But one wrong thinking or misconception is that melatonin generates sleep, when in fact it only regulates the timing of sleep. So it just tells our body, now it is time to sleep. What drives sleep in the body is actually two key factors. So first, our internal body clock, or so-called circadian rhythm, which is closely linked to the daylight. That's why our sleep gets very much disrupted when we travel through time zones. I mean, even coming from Berlin to here with this 1 hour difference impacted me, I have to say. But yeah, so this is the first thing. And the second factor is sleep pressure, which builds up during the day as a chemical called adenosine accumulates in the brain. And this is where caffeine comes into story, because how caffeine functions in the body is that it blocks the adenosine receptors in the brain, and it makes us feel more awake than we actually are. So caffeine is one of the external factors that can influence our sleep. There are some others, like artificial evening lights, especially LED lights, which we have nowadays in our laptops and smartphones. Another factor is room temperature. Alcohol use, of course, can affect, and also some other daily habits and practices like when you eat, when you exercise, etc. And the good news is we can actually improve the quality of our sleep by adopting so-called sleep hygiene practices. And apparently the most effective of them is actually to go to bed and wake up at the same hour of the day, no matter what. And this is something I try to stick, and I have to say the school schedule of my daughter helps me have this regular rhythm. So my day usually starts around 6:30 in the morning and ends around 10:30 p.m. So I try to get 8 hours of sleep every day. In the evening, I would put down the room lights a little bit. If it is winter and if you are using heating, I would also put down the temperature a little bit. We also have this no more cell phones after 8 p.m. policy. Not everyone follows it very well, but we are working on it. So the last couple of hours before sleeping for me would be about maybe doing some little organization at home, reading, or recently journaling, since I got a very nice journal from a very good friend of mine as a gift. And one new habit that I try to implement is actually to put my alarm clock away from my bedside table in order to avoid hitting the snooze button, because apparently this is very harmful for your cardiovascular health, because each repeated wake up gives another shock to your body.